Welcome po to Reviewers, a compilation of exam reviewers and item explanations. So let's examine this po. For the past 2 weeks, Dan has been working on his thesis for his graduate class. In the first week, he finished 1/5 of his paper. In the second week, he finished 2/7 of the remainder. How much more does Dan need to accomplish? Is it A, 4/7, B, 15/35, C, 4/5, D, 5/7, or letter E, 8/20? So to answer this question, the idea or the concept here is on fractions and how do we operate fractions. Take note, let me use here. Yung ating situation dito is Dan has to finish his paper and of course 100% po yan. So whatever fractions we would know or later on we would get, always remember that the question here is how much more does Dan need to accomplish, not of the remainder but of the total percentage of his paper. Okay? Kasi iba yung target eh. What if yung tanong dito is how much more does Dan need to accomplish pertaining to the remainder after the first week? Parang ganun. So, but it's on the entirety. So, in this given, Dan, in the first week, okay? In the first week, Dan has finished 1/5 of his paper. So, the remaining here, so ito yung accomplished, okay? The remainder here is how much? Of course, if it's 100%, so that's 5/5. By the way, I'm explaining this situation, but for some of you can immediately get the answer or don't need this computation, you may if you would like to. So the remainder here is actually 4/5 after the first week. Again, after the first week. Now, on the second week, Dan has accomplished 2/7, but this 2/7 is not of the entire paper. Take note of the statement here of the remainder. That would mean 2/5, 2/7 of 4/5. Okay? Again, 2/7 of 4/5. So, how do we try to solve this? So, the accomplished item here is 2/5 of the remainder, which is 4/5. The process there is we would like to know the total result of or total accomplishment of Dan for the second week. So we're going to take the 2/7 of your remaining remainder after the first week of 4/5. Take note of that. So this is to be multiplied. Okay. Bakit po multiplication? Kasi ito eh. Say for example, you have 10. Exactly 10. 1/5 of 10. How do you solve 1/5 of 10? So you are actually multiplying 1/5 and 10. So again ha, if may 10 po tayo and you're solving for 1/5 of that, so you are multiplying. So we have 10 times 1/5, it's actually 2. So 2 is the 1/5 of 10. Okay? So that is why we are multiplying. We are not dividing, we are multiplying to get the total accomplishment of Dan for the second week. That's actually 2/7 of the remainder. So when you multiply this, when you have fractions, simply multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. So 2 times 4 is 8 over 35. Okay? That's the product. This is the accomplishment of Dan for the second week. The question now is, what would be the remainder now? The new remainder, let's call it remainder sub 2. The remainder now is when we subtract this accomplishment for the second week and the first week. Of course, we will be subtracting both of them from the total. Not just this, because if this is what you will be subtracting po, on the total, so you're just talking about the remaining work if concerning the second week alone. But since this is actually cumulative, let's just assume, okay, let's try to add both of these two, or not there, we'll add both of these two to get the total accomplishment for the first week and the second week. I hope that you are following. Earlier, we multiplied them because 2/7 of the remainder. Okay? If it's just 2/7 of the entirety, you're just simply going to add them. But this is what we're going to add to 1/5. So 1/5 plus 8 over 35. Now, there is a technique, what we call as butterfly method, or you could use here the LCD if you would like to. I'm going to show you both methods. So you're going to multiply this by 7. So you have 7 times 1. You will have 7 times 5 plus 8 over 35 using equivalent fractions, so that you will have 35 in your denominator and 7 plus 8. So the total accomplishment is actually 15 over 35. This is on the process using equivalent fractions, or yun nga, LCD. You also have a technique for this. Other call this butterfly method. You simply do this. I'm going to use another color here. So butterfly method, you multiply that. Okay, you will have 35. You multiply this. You will have plus. You will have used plus 40 over. You multiply this as well. But of course, this gets larger. Okay, so 5 times 135, that's 150 plus 25, so you have 175 here. Okay, which gives us a result of 75 over 175. Okay, divided by 25, or in simplest form, well, that's actually 3 over 3 over 7. Tama? 3 over 7. Divide by, yes. Okay, this is also the same as this pala. Okay, this is also the same as this, because if you're going to have simplified form of 15 over 35, divide by 5 on both, so you will have 3 over 7 as well. So they are just the same. Now, don't be confused so much with this. This is a butterfly method out from this. Though it's still too large, this is easier actually for some, if you were not able to master LCD. Either way, we will get here 3/7 yung total, okay? 3/7 yung total. Okay? Total of what? The first week accomplishment and the second week accomplishment. Now, we're asked about how much more does Dan need to accomplish. So, ilan pa yung percentage or fraction ng natitirang work after doing 1/5 on the first week and 2/7 of the remainder for the second week. So obviously, we will have to have 100%, so 7 over 7 minus 3 over 7. So we'll still have 4 over 7 of work remaining for the mentioned thesis. So the answer here is none other than letter A, 4/7. So before we end this, take note of the concepts that we're able to master here. The idea of fractions, subtracting fractions, and second week is actually using multiplying the given fraction to the remainder, because that's what's given there. Okay, we also added fractions. We used the LCD or this butterfly method to get the result, and looking into the question again, how much more or the remaining work to be done. That's what we did here. So these are the things that you need to master for fractions for it to be prepared. So once again po, ito po yung reviewers. Don't forget po to subscribe on our channel, like our videos, and if kaya naman po, paki-share na lang din po. And leave a comment po for our future videos improvement. And follow our FB page and stay tuned for more videos. Maraming salamat!